I'm done trying to live up to others' expectations. Family, society, class, race, sex, or religions. It's time to break free from the isms that make us feel like we're in prison. I'm ready to be unleashed as fuck. I'm ready to be unleashed as fuck. Tired of the madness, done with the sadness. Gonna break free and be unleashed.
Woohoo! Yay! I love the show. Hello and welcome to another empowering episode of Unleashed AF, the podcast where we help you step into your greatness and your most authentic self. I'm your host, Deidre Beecham, and my co-host alongside me is the incredible Jenny Badig, the inner space engineer. Oh, yes, please. And for those of you who are new here, I am Deidre, a visibility catalyst dedicated to helping high-achieving women like you to break free from the nice girl training and embrace your power voice. Jenny, my amazing co-host, brings her unique expertise as a hypnotherapist and a former engineer to help you reprogram your mindset and unleash your true potential. And Jenny,
yes, thank you. And so today we're continuing our special June series featuring powerful coming out stories. Anyone who steps into their truth and lives it is courageous. These coming out stories break down societal leashes and offer insights into the challenges and triumphs of living authentically. And as always, we love hearing from you guys. So don't hesitate to drop your thoughts and questions in the comments or chat. We want to make this a dynamic and interactive session. We also now have a section on our website where if you have a topic that you'd like us to discuss in a future podcast, or if you just have a question for us, you can fill out the form on our website. It's under WWJDD, which is What Would Jenny and Deidre Do? Or if you'd like to be a guest on a future podcast, you can also go to our website, which is unleashedafpodcast.com. and fill out a guest application so that we have the information and we can contact you about potentially being a future guest.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. And today I have the fortune of introducing our guest. I'm going to go ahead and add her to the stage. I'd like to welcome Chris Cushing. She's a certified virtual assistant and is on a mission to redefine, I love when people have missions, to redefine the landscape of professional support. From call center manager to solopreneur, Chris has an unwavering belief in a heart-centered approach. Love that guides her interactions with clients, creating an environment where fulfillment is not just a professional goal, but a personal one too. Thank you so much for joining us today, Chris.
Absolutely.
Very, very excited you're here. So I met Chris. It's a funny story. My wife and I were at a farmer's market. We had the spice business down in Florida. Mm-hmm. And while we were sitting there, these two women were standing over. And I think I waved to you or something. I'm like, you may as well come on over.
You know how it is, right? There's like a nod or like a little look. Like anytime you see a lesbian or gay couple out, it's like this look of affirmation, like, I see you, like, hey. So, I mean, that's literally what we did. We were walking through the farmer's market and I'm like, oh yeah. So we did the whole nod thing. And then Deidre's like, you should just come over here. You two just come over. And that's where it all started. Yep.
Yeah, that was great. So you and your wife, we met you down in Melbourne, Florida. Of course, neither one of us live there anymore. And now Jenny is still down there. But
sweating it out.
You are sweating it out. And where are you now, Chris?
I'm in Arkansas, near Eureka Springs, Arkansas. It is like heaven on earth.
Which you wouldn't think when you hear Arkansas and you put LGBT and Arkansas, and they don't seem to go in the same sentence. So
I'm telling you, they do.
It's the area that you're in particular, correct?
Exactly. So CNN did an article on the Eureka Springs area. At this point, it's probably a couple of years. We've been here 2 years, and I think it came out just before we moved here. But I mean, it's fantastic. The area is like traditionally, all the way back to like the 1800s, this is how this area has been. That every walk of life, it doesn't matter what your political beliefs are or whatever, people, they just get along. We all get along. It's amazing.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That
Yeah.
needs to spread. We need to
Yes.
infect the areas around and let it grow.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some amazing, amazing people here that are just, great leaders in the community and just the community as a whole. And I mean, the LGBT community here is awesome, but then you have the greater community, and we've never had any problems. So,
That's
That's
yeah.
awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really fantastic. And you had definitely had some problems in Florida.
Yeah. It's bad when you can't drive down the street in your own vehicle and not get get profiled. Like, it was happening to me every single time. Like, every time I was driving down the road, I would see a cop on the opposite side of the street going the whole different way. They would see me, they would turn around and run my plates constantly. Yeah. And it just got, and it wasn't like that when we first moved there. When we first moved there, it was great. I mean, we loved it. We thought, okay, we've landed here. This is great. This is where we are going to be like forever. And then it just got progressively worse and worse and worse. And to the point that I kind of didn't want to leave the house.
Mm.
And you know me, Deidre, that
No, that is definitely not you. I always saw Chris and Karen out somewhere, walking or going to an event. I mean, they were always out and about.
Yeah. So that was something for sure. So what really did it was Karen and I were together in the truck going grocery shopping, and she watched it happen, and she was like, oh my God. And she asked me how often this happens and how long it's been happening. I'm like, I can't tell you how long, but it happens all the time. Like every time I get in the vehicle. So
yeah, not good.
Wow.
Anyway, I can go all in on all the things I have to say about the political atmosphere there, but I won't. So let's move along because really want to get to your story. And you had actually filled out your form about the leash, about leaving your call center, leaving the management facility, managing a call center and going into your own business. And that's awesome. I'd love to have you back and talk about that.
We're going to make you talk about something else.
Right. So this is the part where I find out that what I was supposed to talk about is not what I'm talking about.
Surprise.
Awesome. Thanks, Deidre.
I thought you saw that our June was coming out stories, but if you couldn't make June, we could do July.
So I saw the June part, not the coming out story part.
Okay. So if you don't want to talk about your coming out story, we don't have to, because that is very intrusive if you haven't agreed to that. So
no, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. Okay. Awesome. So tell us your coming out story. What happened? How did you come to that decision and come out? Because it was later in life. It wasn't when you were a kid.
No. Wow. I'm not even sure who I came out to first, because I was actually married at the time. So I didn't come out. Yeah, right. I didn't come out until after I was out of the house that I shared with my ex-husband. Just because I didn't think that he would have a negative reaction, but you never know how somebody's going to react to news like that.
You don't.
So I waited until I was out and I was in a safe place, and then did it. And then I probably told my dad first, and he was amazing.
Really? Oh, that's such a great.
Yeah,
great.
He was amazing in the fact that, like, I remember him looking at me and he just kind of cried. And I'm like, Dad, he's like, you've been miserable for so long, you know?
Aw.
And I was just like, whoa, okay. All right. And then when I told my mom, her reaction was also positive, but then, you know, as a parent, you always want to know, was it something I did? I mean, like that to me is like the quintessential number one thing that probably runs through every parent's mind when their child comes out to them. What could I have done to change this?
Mhm.
Nothing.
Nope.
And you as a parent did nothing wrong, right? We were born this way, and this is who we are. And now this is me telling you that I'm going to start living my authentic life. And so, yeah,
Now,
that's it.
now did you, I'm sorry, did you always know, or was it something that you just came to realize over time? Or how did that happen for you?
I always knew. And the older I got, and when I say older, probably like between 10 and 12, I was like, I knew. But you know, you fall into the trap of society, and society says this is how you're supposed to live. You're supposed to, you know, go to school, go to college, get a good job, get married, have kids. Ta-da. And that wasn't me. I mean, yep, I tried the college thing for a while, went to nursing school, didn't finish it, just because life happened, and then joined the Air Force. So I was in the Air Force for 6 years, and that's where I met my ex-husband. So yeah, it's just kind of, I'm thankful for the journey that I've had, because I had the freedom, and in a lot of ways created the freedom for myself to learn and grow. Like I'm constantly learning and growing. Like if you stop learning and growing, you're just gonna die. You're gonna shrivel up and die. So I just enjoy doing that. I enjoy learning. I enjoy learning from people, sharing stories, just the connections, because you learn so much. And you've got to check out, and I think I sent this to you, Deidre. You've got to check out Make Sense Academy. I love it.
Make Sense Academy?
Yes, I love it. I start every day with JC Dornick and Mika and the crew. So you've got to check it out. It is just the best way, I think, to start your day, because you're starting your day on a positive note, you know, before all the junk of the day and you get blasted with everything on Facebook or whatever, if you choose to look at it. It's just a great positive way to start your day. It's awesome.
Cool. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Jen.
Well, I have a quick question. Since you mentioned being in the military for a while, did you feel well, and when was that? Like, what years were you in?
89 to 94.
Okay. So in that time frame, you mentioned how just kind of societally there were pressures, like, you know, gay just wasn't as accepted back then. Did you feel that any differently as being someone in the military as you did before you went into the military, or were there even more kind of expectations and differences? What was that?
Oh, absolutely. In the military, you don't say anything. Like you don't come out to anybody. At least at that time, you just didn't. You just didn't. I was fortunate enough to actually meet someone when I cross-trained. When we moved back to the States, I cross-trained into a different career field. So I had to go to school in Mississippi for like 6 weeks. And I met a friend there who was just like totally out. He didn't care. And it was wonderful. We had so much fun in New Orleans. It was great. So, you know, there's gems like that. But at the time, there really wasn't there really wasn't anybody.
Did you feel like there was any difference, male versus female, in the acceptance? Probably not at that time, I would guess,
No.
right? Neither one was
Right.
really
No,
that
because
accepted.
exactly. Like at that time, it was kind of don't ask, don't tell. I mean, that's
Yeah.
literally, you just didn't say anything. So no, I think everybody felt that. So like if we were to go out and see someone out, we knew that if we saw them on base in uniform, you didn't say anything.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. So, so there's actually several leashes here that you've actually mentioned. I mean, we've got the leash of societal expectation, and then microcosming down a little bit more into military.
Yep.
And then there's also the parents, you know, and not wanting to disappoint your parents and not wanting to disappoint upbringing. But what was going on inside of you that you were just like, I've got to do this now?
I was just miserable.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I knew that I shouldn't have gotten married. But actually, I mean, I loved him. But I just, when he asked me to marry him, I was bawling my eyes out. And it kind of wasn't because I was happy. So I just got to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm not happy. I'm living this lie. It's not fair to him and, you know, everybody else involved. And I had to do it. I had to do it. Mostly for myself, but obviously for everybody else involved too. It just didn't make sense to me to, I don't know, keep living the lie.
Yes. Yeah, that part.
Yep.
That part. It is like living a lie. And I think that's what people don't get or don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, it is. You're living a lie. I mean, yes, you're in this relationship. Yes, you might have feelings for this person, but that person is not the person that you are truly, authentically connected to.
Yeah.
So,
and that makes such a huge difference.
Mhm.
It's just unbelievable. So how did you when did you and Karen meet?
we met, as any true lesbian couple does, at Pride at a beer truck. True story. True story.
That's
Yep.
hilarious. That's hilarious.
So it was, let's see, it's 20 plus years ago we met, and she was working a beer truck at Pride in Columbus, Ohio. She was not supposed to be there because she had gotten out of a bad relationship and she honestly didn't want to go. Well, all of her guy friends showed up at her house and drug her down there. They were like, you're going to come work the truck with us. So she got her t-shirt. They bought her a cowboy hat. And so she's in line, or she's working the beer truck. And I arrived with my partner at the time and all of her friends. So we go in, find a spot to sit down, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to grab us some beers. So I go to the beer truck. I'm standing in line, and there's probably like 10 or 15 people in front of me. And one side of the beer truck is just like, I mean, everybody's packed there. They're having a great time. The other side, there was nothing going on. So, of course, I stayed on the fun side. So, of course. I mean, come on now. Yeah. So then I'm paying attention to this one line over here, which is where Karen was. And she's taking beer orders, but she's making people do stuff. Yeah. So like, sing me a song, tell me a joke, kiss the person behind you, dance, whatever. And I'm in this line and I'm like, oh, what is she going to make me do? What is she going to make me do? So like, we get closer and closer and closer. And I'm like, my heart literally is pounding because I'm like, I don't even know. Like, if I have to kiss someone behind me, how am I going to explain that, to my girlfriend who's sitting over there and can
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
So I get there, I'm standing in front of her, and all she said was, "Well, hello there." Done. Right then and there. I literally said, I was like, I don't know how this is going to work, but I need to be a part of whatever she's a part of. And I just put it out there to the universe. And that day, those steps, it just happened. Like later on that day, unbeknownst to us, we met her roommate who invited us to a party the next day at Baton Rouge. I don't know if they still do it, but oh my God. If you ever get a chance to go to Columbus, Ohio for Pride, do it. It's amazing. It is amazing. B, they have this tradition. It's called Baton Rouge. And it is drag queens, full drag, playing softball.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is fantastic. If you've never, you just got to do it. You got to do it.
That sounds awesome.
It's amazing. So my girlfriend and I went to that event the next day, and Michael walked us over to where his friends are, and there was Karen. So we became friends. We were friends for about 2 years before we officially got together.
Wow. That's a great story. Awesome. That's a great story. Yeah. So somehow you found the strength inside of yourself because you were miserable to come out, even though you were married at the time. And you fought through the military society and your upbringing, all of those things around you, and came out.
Yeah, and I think though that my upbringing, my parents, they got divorced when I was 5, but both of my parents were cool. I mean, my dad.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, my dad taught physics at Notre Dame, and my mom at the time was in law enforcement. So my parents were cool. They were supportive. I mean, at that point, I'm out of the house, so it's kind of like, okay, what are we going to do, kind of thing. But I mean,
true. But you were still worried about going and telling them. You were still worried about going and coming out to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I was, but I don't know that I was so worried that it made me sick, or it gave me physical anxiety. I don't think I was like that nervous. It was just like, well, I got to rip this Band-Aid off. And kind of it's going to be what it's going to be. But I never felt like either one of them were going to be like, okay, I'm done here. Right. Because again, at this point, I'm out of the house. So can't get kicked out because I already have my own place. So it was just like, okay, where are we going to take our relationship from that point? And
yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you feel was the biggest concern you had to come out to? Or just what was your biggest concern about coming out before you did it?
It was probably, I think my biggest concern was more about if and how my relationship would change with either one of them. And it didn't. Because that was the biggest thing. I was, close to both my parents. I mean, I still call my mom every day. But yeah, I think that was the biggest thing for me was there going to be some sort of relationship, twist? And that didn't happen. So I was thankful for that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I know that you mentioned, and I think this is really important because we did not mention this last week. You mentioned that you waited until you were out of your relationship with your husband or out of the house before you told him. And I think that's really important, that as much as it is important to be true to ourselves and to come out, and whether it's coming out or, doing a profession that other people aren't agreeing with, but it's something that you want to do, whatever that is, you also have to make sure that you're safe when you're doing it.
Very true. And granted, some people don't have that option. Some people don't have that option. Maybe next June we can talk Karen into telling her story. Hers is completely different and not in a good way.
Yeah.
So yeah. But definitely safety first. And, if you feel like you're not going to be in a safe place when this goes down, talk to your tribe. Let your tribe know what's going to happen, or what could potentially happen, so that they can check on you.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So I know you didn't have a chance to prepare this because we just sprung on you that you were doing your coming out story today. So going along the lines of the bite and the bite bark. I lost all three of them.
Leash, bite, bark is what we
leash, right? The leash and then the bite. We've got both of those, but what message would you want to send out to the world? I mean, we already know that, yes, you want to make sure that people are safe when they're coming out, but what would you want people to know as a result of your coming out story? What do you want people to know?
Live authentically. Don't get stuck in the past. Don't hang on to your leashes. Cut the leash and get out there and just be you, because the more authentically you live, the better your life will be, and the better the lives will be of the people that are connected to you. Because when you live authentically, you are connecting to and drawing in those people that see your value, see your worth, and they will help elevate you.
That's nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Look at that wisdom just spewing out of you. One thing that I was thinking as you said that is I feel like a lot of people, even beyond just coming out stories, a lot of people just get so comfortable with whatever leash they've been on because it's what they know, and it feels safer than the unknown. But I think what you said that's why I think it's so beautiful and wise, because you can still have an even more beautiful life, if you can break those leashes and, live true and authentic. That's you create your own, God, what's a group of dogs? Like your own pack.
Right. But that's the scary part though. Because with that leash, you are like so comfortable and you're just like, okay, this is my safe, happy spot. I'm good. Even though it's not totally happy and I could be doing something else that makes me a heck of a lot happier, but this is safe. So, I mean, I am always telling myself to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So stepping outside of the box, doing things that I wouldn't normally do, to challenge myself. So by doing that, again, it helps build my self-confidence, knowing, hey, I can do this. Like I can check this off my list. I can do a live podcast. Boom. So I can do it and not know at all what I'm going to be talking about. So, when you put 2 checks in one day, I'm loving it.
Look at you.
When you allow yourself to do that, it's so good. It's just so good. And everything that comes from that is good.
Wow. That is a great note to end on. Chris, I can't thank you enough for coming on here and challenging yourself to get over 2 humps. You've got that live show now. I'm so proud of you. And I am so grateful for you coming on the show today. And my hope is that somebody in the audience, whether they're watching live or watch in the rerun, that they're inspired by your story and find heart in what you have to say so that they can find the courage to come out themselves.
Absolutely.
And so I thank you for that. You have anything you want to add, Jenny? Oh, I know we need to put up your, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get your websites up here. So if you want to get in touch with Chris, awesome Chris, there is her website, vavictory.biz. And we also have her Instagram. Look at that branding, VA Victory Biz. And Facebook, look, VA Victory Biz.
Boom.
And on LinkedIn, we have Chris Cushing, CVA. So that is fantastic. So if you want to get in touch with her, please do so at one of her locations. We'll make sure we put this information up on the post as well.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Jenny, you want to wrap us up?
Well, one thing I just wanted to add, I didn't realize that you had been up in Columbus at one point. I'm from the Dayton area originally, so I have friends that go to Columbus Pride as well. So
yeah, we have a friend that lives
connection we
in
have.
Dayton. Yeah, we've got a couple of people that live in Dayton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Nice.
a guy that I played volleyball with in Dayton lives in Columbus now, and I see him posting about Pride all the time. He used to work at a bar in Short North down by
Oh my
OSU.
God.
So.
There were some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So
Awesome.
we want to remind you guys watching that if you have any suggestions or ideas for future shows, you can go to our website at unleashedafpodcast.com. There's a section there now where you can fill in suggestions, ideas, or even just questions for us. WWJDD is the menu item on the website that'll get you to that form. Or if you'd be interested in being a guest of ours on a future podcast, you can go to the same website and go to the guest application page, fill out your information so that we can contact you about potentially being a future guest on the podcast.
And I promise you, we won't switch things on you. It's just
It's just me.
Chris is a friend, and she's such a good sport. And so this is absolutely fantastic. Look, you thought you were going to be stretched. You were stretched even more.
That's right.
Wow.
Trial by fire. You did great. And thank you so much for being on the show today. Please
Thank you.
come and join us next week, because next Friday, we're going to have, please tell me the name again.
Justin Cerconi.
Yeah, Justin. He's awesome. He's
Yeah.
great. He's such a good guy.
He's the president of Space Coast Pride, correct? President of Space
Yep.
Coast Pride.
Mhm.
Awesome. So we look forward to having him on the show next week. And at the end of the month, I think the next one will be the end of the month, is CJ Scarlett.
Mhm.
And CJ's met the Dalai Lama. And so she has a really fascinating story as well. She didn't like what he had to say to her.
Can't wait to hear that story.
I know, it's going to be fun.
Right?
So anyway, thank you so much. And Chris, if you'll just hang on for just a second, we will chat with you for just a second off the show, and then we'll let you go.
Yeah.
So join us next week. Thanks, guys. Till next time, get unleashed.
I'm done trying to live up to others' expectations. Family, society, class, race, sex, or religions. It's time to break free from the isms that make us feel like we're in prison. I'm ready to